Now, I mentioned to you that we had a special visitor coming along today, and that must be him right now.
Did you dare, Tom?
Look at that. It's Paul Cronin, ladies and gentlemen.
How are you?
Great to see you, Paul. Welcome to the shed. Now, Paul Cronin's television career began with a role in Homicide, before things really started to take off when he played motorcycle policeman Gary Hogan in the drama Matlock Police. Perhaps his most famous role was as Dave Sullivan in the popular Australian drama The Sullivans, for which he won 5 Logie Awards. He's been the King of Moomba, president of an AFL football team, and a radio and television host, and we're very fortunate to have him here with us today on Shed TV. Welcome, Paul.
Thank you, Tony. Did I do all that?
You did, and more,
Oh,
and more. We're hoping to talk a bit about it today. Listen, how did you first become interested in acting, and was it an ambition you had early on, or was it circumstantial?
No, I was a country boy, and every Saturday night, mostly Mum and Dad would go to the local picture shows in South Australia and take me with them. I'd be asleep for the second film, but I was fascinated. I used to waddle up to at half time, the interval, and waddle up and look behind the screen. Where's the people gone? So I was interested how all that happened.
So the process,
It must have started, because by 10 or 11th Christmas, they gave me Mum and Dad gave me a little battery-operated Mickey Mouse and Donald Duck and a little storyline. I'd act all the parts with my voice and show it up on the wall. And I was more interested in how to make film, what made it happen, why were we as a people look forward to. There was nothing else, dances perhaps on a Saturday night, but we'd all flock to the Mechanics Institute to see the latest movie.
So the whole behind the scenes, the production, how they put it all together is what interested you.
That's what fascinated.
And then did somebody push you onto the stage or in front of the camera?
Yes, my bride did that. She got sick of hearing me criticising television, black and white television, Australian shows, and say, "Oh, I don't believe that," you know. Well, it was the time when a lot of British actors were here, and a lot of ABC actors were here, and of course they all spoke with the top plumber and he didn't understand what they're saying. And I said, "That's not us. Australians don't do that. They speak like I'm speaking." And it was at that point that Crawfords were looking for that type, and I was lucky to be pushed into it by my wife. Pushed? I didn't. I sort of helped along too.
You played a number of roles that defined the perception of the Australian male at the time. I suppose many of our viewers would know you best for your role as Dave in The Sullivans. How did you create that character, and what experiences or influences did you draw upon to make him the man that he was?
Well, as you probably know, we all got little thumbnail sketches of who Dave is, who Harry is, who Grace is, and so on, in all the shows, whatever you were playing. You'd have a thumbnail look at the character, then you have to flesh it out. So it was relatively easy because of the period that the Sullivans were, that were shot in, was 3 days before World War II, 1939 through to 45. And Dad and his neighbours and my uncles, the males, they're all the same. They were all pillars of the church. You know, they shake hands, that was their word, their bond, there was nothing in writing between farmers. I was farmer's son. And they sort of didn't like being photographed much. They used to sort of stand in the background and be uncomfortable. If, come on, Dad, come and have a photo taken. Oh, you without me, I don't want... Anyway, we'd get him there. So there was this photo after photo after photo of what I considered Dave Sullivan to be. The way he spoke, the way he stood, the way he looked. And I'm pleased to say that worked.
Well, it did. There must have been an element of bravery involved on your part. I guess getting in front of a camera for a living is really kind of breaking the mould of where you came from.
Certainly. I don't know, I was never frightened of the camera. I'd never ever freeze. I was mechanical. I used to look at it and say, now I've got to be there when the camera is there. And if I walk over here, I'll be in the wrong place. It's for the cameraman, it must be.
So you made a point of doing your homework.
Studied everything.
When you're playing a character for a long time, I imagine that you put a lot of emotional and physical energy into making him a real person. When a series comes to an end, how does it feel to have to leave that character behind? And how do you cope with the change in your work situation?
Well, it was a blessed relief for me because I thought I was going go at some stage. It just overdid it. And learning lines, that much dialogue on a page and have to be right and do that 2 or 3 times, it gets to you. You really, I wasn't getting enough sleep. And I'd be up at 5 o'clock, having gone to bed at 3, troubled to get to sleep, and then up to go off on location again. That would be twice a week. So I didn't miss it from that point of view. I was always interested in Australian rules football, having played it myself, not league standard, but country league. And the opportunity came up in 1984. They started talking about a licence to operate. I think that was a bit of rubbish because they wanted more money. So anyway, they fabricated this. We'll sell licences in the States. So Western Australia got one, and I won the licence for Queensland, having become interested in footy from that point of view.
And of course so you were right there at the beginning of the Brisbane Bears.
Foundation man.
So challenges involved in pulling off something like that. That's a big undertaking to sort of. Let's go and start a new national football team.
Lots of help. Everyone wanted to come on board. We were given only 5 months though to get a team up and running, and that wasn't right. I mean, now they're getting teams a year out or 2 years out to get it right. We were given 5 months to get a team together, and there was supposed to be a draft of players, 3 players from every club, to form this Brisbane team.
So after such a turbulent and difficult start, how do you feel about the results that the club has had over the years?
Well, it really started to fire up when the Fitzroy Football Club was not in good nick. So the powers to be merged together with the Brisbane side, Brisbane Bears. And lo and behold, a couple of years after that, they won 3 straight, I think, or certainly 2 plus 1. And that just proves that, to me anyway, that the quality of player that we were given by draft was just a joke.
Previously, from the outset,
yeah.
But obviously the Fitzroy club was in bad shape. But some of the players
were excellent.
Absolutely,
Premiership. Talk about
material.
Lynch and Hardy and Brownlow medalist.
Absolutely,
he came with us from Footscray.
Since the football. And your work in TV drama, where's life taken you, Paul?
Retirement.
Happy, comfortable retirement?
Very well. You're never happy, are you? Never that comfortable. But now I'm a busy man, being full-time grandfather and great-grandfather. So happy with all that.
Is that recent? You've recently become
the great-grandchildren are, yeah. Okay. They're only about 2 and 3 and a bit. So don't see them a lot. They're interstate, but we see them regularly.
And you've got some memorable moments in the let's call them the retirement years.
Just not having to learn those damn lines. That's good.
Yeah, taking the pressure off a bit. That's what I was going to ask you before when you were doing the Sullivans, all that work and that schedule, which was topsy turvy and all over the place. That can't have been good for you.
No, not really. Adrenaline keeps you going though in all jobs, and it's a challenge of keeping. I didn't, if someone said this is what you're going to have to do in the Bears, this is what you're going to have to do in the Sullivans, you wouldn't say no, I can't do that. You just do it, and you find the strength from somewhere to do it.
It was a great show. I even had looked it up on YouTube. Had a bit of a refresher the other night, and all the characters were all very strong. Well,
do you know that the Archives has got a full set of the show in Canberra? So there's not too many shows who've done that.
No, it's a piece of Australian history.
Well, it is. It was historical and hysterical to
Absolutely.
make. But it records on camera that 1939-45. We hit the mark and we got through to the that count. Like the work that I tried to do on the motorcycle, I wanted it to be right. So I did the fortnight's training with the 2 sergeants, the police, and fortunately they wanted it to be right as well. So you just keep working at it to get it right and get the right people to support you when you do.
Well, I was a big fan as a kid. I was a big fan of Solo One. I mean, humming the tune to Solo One in my head all day.
It's a catchy tune, isn't it?
I've actually learned it. I'm hoping I might be able to twist your arm and I'll sing it.
I don't know the words.
But I think I've just about got it.
I've got a friend called a motorbike and it's just called Solo One. That's all I know.
Having to bring the guitar with.
I just haven't. I've got something over here to show you too.
Yeah, I looked up a lot. We're going to talk about what you've got in the shed. How's it go? There's a certain kind of magic.
Trying to stay alive. Riding the horse.
Riding the horse.
Riding the bike.
Riding the hills on a motorbike.
Sure beats 9 to 5.
It's nothing complicated. But it's not hard to tell someone. I've got a friend that's a motorbike, and it's just called Solo One. Solo One, Solo One. I've got a friend that's a motorbike, and it's just called Solo One.
Haven't sung that ever before.
No, I'm chuffed and honoured. I mean, that little 5-year-old Tony Byrne that was sitting there watching the TV couldn't believe his luck.
Well, there you go.
So,
You
enjoyed
never
that.
know what you'll find in a big city.
Now, while we're in the shed, it's talking about locations indoor and outdoor. Do you like our shed?
I love it. I tell you what, and I bought
It's a working
something.
shed.
I bought something that, guess what it is? Because I thought you might like to see what I did.
I'd
in
be
my
really
shed.
keen to see what you...
Had a tabletop saw, about that deep saw, and I made that. What is it?
Okay. Is it some sort of a scoreboard or a cut?
You've almost got it. You've heard of the game called Mahjong? And it's played with little tiles.
Yeah.
Chinese figures.
Is that the one with the little, like the dragons and the different
the Chinese
characters and figures?
Yeah.
Mhm.
Well, my wife said to me, "Go and buy one. 4 of us. We want 4." So I went high and low in Melbourne, all the shops that I could think of that might have this stand, and they didn't. So I went into my shed, and I got all the. This is only a bit of off-cut.
But you knew what you
And
were
I
looking
knew
for.
what the tile. I had the tile there, and I used to set it there, put it there. No, back a bit further, grind a bit more off, cut a bit more off, and slide them along there as well. So
Okay.
there it is.
And it works.
Works.
And your wife
She plays with it
approves.
regularly. That's about 30-year-old.
Okay. And it's still in play.
It's every month.
Oh well done.
She
So,
and
but
her
no
girlfriend.
plans. It was just basically going
Out of the head.
out of the head. Here on the Shed Online, we talk a lot about keeping blokes healthy. How do you look after your physical and mental health? For example, what sort of activities, attitudes, or how do relationships play a role in maintaining your health?
Well, I've been very lucky to have a beautiful wife who takes care of me. We've been married now 52 years, so the golden is gone.
Congratulations.
Thank you. We have family. We had four girls who in turn had 12 children and 2 great-grandchildren. So our whole lives were around that family. On the depression side, I know it's tough for blokes that don't want to admit it. You know, they won't see it that they've got a problem. It's all there's a thing in front of a big veil behind which is another guy who you think you know. So it is great that we've got Beyond Blue to try and coax men out of their dilemma.
To address it and share it, and not feel so alone. Well, listen, thank you very much, Paul, for coming in today.
Pleasure.
We appreciate your time, and it's been really enlightening. And that's all we've got time for, so we're going to sign off, and what we normally say is, till next time, Shedders.
Till next time,
Shedders.